When did when did I go down? I looked at the stream and I was off. My internet crapped out on me. What was the last thing you guys saw? Because I started painting up the belt. I don't know when the stream went down. I guess the internet's wonky. I got a thing from Xfinity that there's an issue in my area. It's interesting. A half hour ago? Holy crap. Yeah, I just looked at my phone and I saw the text message from Xfinity. So alright, I'll have to keep a better eye at what I'm doing. Yeah, I guess I was in the zone so a half hour ago, so I must have done the whole belt and I wasn't streaming. Okay. Wait, am I still... Yeah, it's friggin' choppy as hell. Alright, well if I go down again, I guess it's the internet. Don't know what the hell's going on today. I know they were doing work in my area. But anyway, I was gonna start painting up the pouch. It's kind of the similar color to the bill. So probably got a little weight to it too. I don't know. It seems like it's going to be one of those days. I'm over here talking, didn't even know I was off the stream. I wish they would do like a buzzer or something if the stream goes down. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. I think I mean to make it darker. I don't know, do you think I should leave it more like his skin or just make a darker pouch? Because if I make it look like his skin, it's gonna be pretty light like this. Kind of lose it on her skin though. Maybe it doesn't look right like his skin. Maybe I should make it look more like his tail, because his tail is like the darker color. I think if it wasn't on her leg, maybe it would work better, but since it's on her leg, you kind of lose it. Yeah, I'm gonna go darker. It doesn't look right. No, it is lighter, and I haven't gone light yet. I was going to go lighter, but the problem is if I go lighter, it's going to match her skin. You know? And it's going to look a little, yeah, it's going to look too much like her skin. If you look, it's kind of... It's kind of more this color, like the duck's, side duck's bill. And it'll kind of... It'll be too close. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do. I think it's too light. It will go darker. Kind of more like his tail, because he's got that tail, which is kind of a darker color. Sometimes we can't make it everything look like kind of how we planned. It's just gonna look weird. Yeah, it'll look too weird. I think if I did a little bit more of the pouch to be like look like him with like the ears or something, it would probably work better. But since I didn't like add the ears or anything, it probably won't. Hey JC, how's it going? Yeah, so we'll just go darker. Hanging in there. Good days, bad days. Just dealing with the rat race, I guess. I think my luck is every time I'm working and things are going well and I'm kind of in that zone, then there's an emergency. It's kind of how things have been going for me for the past couple months. And I'm kind of over the emergencies. so as far as his emblem, it's kind of like a gold, right? Like a pale gold. I wonder if those markers, where's those markers? Yeah, I have the markers, but it's not pale gold. It's the flashy gold and silvers. So this is champagne gold. Let me try this. I don't want to use the Alclad stuff, even though that's probably the color. I want to try this, see how this works. I know this usually has to kind of do a layer or two, but I don't want it to make it. I don't want it to be perfect. Goal is to make her very dirty. This kind of goes on okay. It only went on okay because it wasn't like a dark color. It's not bad. Just want to poke my eye. Hey Jacob, I was kind of wondering where you've been. I was actually going to email you if you didn't hop on stream tonight to see what's going on. Kind of plugging away. Hopefully you're doing better now. What? I guess just a dark metal clip would be fine. I think that'll work. Is this stream running okay? It says it's running fine. Although it keeps flickering. Well, let's make some red and we'll make like a red clip. Probably better. Ah, you son of a bitch. It's a good thing she's gonna end up being dirty. So, that's what happens when I don't. Can't make those mistakes when I work on Peach. That's for sure. It's always good to seal the skin with a couple layers just in case. Like right there, where it drops. Get all these other elements done. She's actually moving pretty fast. Her base is gonna be it's gonna be a long stream. So now this guy's got black hair, kind of like a flat black, and white eyes with dots. I got that email from you, Raz. That was the email with the eyes. So they're pretty much like white eyes with black dots, right? Make sure. So a while ago you sent that. I got so many damn emails. Oh, you sent the email for the color of the eyes of the other dude. Yeah, I got it. So you sent it for the staff, but his eyes are white with black dots, right? So these are white eyes with black dots. It's not black with a white dot, of course. So, right? I remember I looked last week, I forgot. Yeah, it does, but let me just I just want to double check. Just double check. Yeah, so it's a white eye. It's white. If it was a, yeah, okay, there's one picture, perfect. Yep, that's what it is. So white with the black dot. Okay. Yeah, he doesn't have his eyes fully closed, so it's white with the dot. So it's probably best to just mask it. Oh, okay. Hopefully the therapy is working out for you. I know a lot of people who do it, it's either hit or miss. So hopefully yours is going well. Sound after everything you said you've been through. So yeah, I was kind of wondering you disappeared from chat again, but if you're doing therapy on Fridays, that's more important. Are you doing a lot of therapy on your own too? Just to kind of get back in shape and everything? Hey Joe, how you doing? Just working on Misty here. Joe gets the award for sending me the most outlandish and weirdest items to work off of. If I could come up with an award for that, Joe would win it. I think he does it on purpose. He sets out to find the weirdest crap to find. Yeah, Joe, I was telling my friend about it, and I explained it in detail to him a little bit better after I talked to you, and even he was dumbfounded. He was like, "What the hell?" I think, but what's funny though is every item you've given me has posed a challenge that I have to beat. And so far, I haven't had a breaking point with your items. Which is good. But still funny. I think I only had, I forgot the item I had. It was a few years back where literally it was such a mess. I was ready to throw against the wall. So I haven't had an item like that in ages. But you've given me items though that are very it's like that domino effect. The minute you mess with it, it opens up another world of hurt. But so far, I think it's coming out better, so. Iron Spider-Man, that one was frustrating. I don't know if that was the one I wanted to throw against the wall. But that one was definitely a frustrating item. But I feel that now that we worked out her hips, she looks a lot better than the way her outfit was before. It kind of has that sideshow hips now from the Poison Ivy standing. So it kind of feels a little bit more like that now, which is actually better. Yeah, I don't know. It could have been that Spider-Man. It could have been that one. I'm not really sure. It's been a while. It's been a while since there was an item I wanted to throw against the wall. Oh, okay, well that's good, Jacob. I'm glad to hear things are getting better and you're slowly getting there. Insurance stuff never is a good thing to deal with. Yeah, I need to get back onto her, but I gotta get some other stuff going this week. That's kind of, I didn't plan on the Ivy, so I didn't think we were taking it this far. That's the problem. I thought we were just putting her on the base, but then it snowballed. Yeah, it's like I said, this is why this is my fear of working on other people's builds, because it's just, the minute you're working on it, but you don't know how they glued this in, so that pops off, but then when you glue that back in, that pops off, but then you got to match up those paints to fix it, and then while you're working on that, a foot falls off, and then you got that's why I learned my lesson a long time ago, never to work on other people's build-ups. Because it was, I forgot who I did it for. This is a long time. We're talking like probably around like the 2016 era. And the guy I was working on, he's like, well, that's not my problem. You broke it. I didn't. And I was like, alright. I'm never working on other people's stuff again. Yeah, hopefully, Joe. Jacob, yeah, long story short, my mother had to go into a nursing home. So it's not been very well, yeah, just think of it as if you had to go into a nursing home. How would you feel? I did everything on it's a long story. My father had his knee replacement. That went well, but then he got sick, and he didn't want to go to the hospital, but then after 3 days he was doubled over in pain. They made him go. That's a whole other story. So at this point I'm kind of burnt out. I really am. I mean, they're doing well now. It's just that, you know, getting older, ending up in a nursing home, and then doing a knee replacement at the age of 88 is just, that's why I'm telling people, everybody I know, if you're like in your 50s, 60s, and early 70s, if you need a knee replacement, do it. Do not wait till you're friggin' 88 years old to do it and have to go through all that hardship at that age, you know? So that's just kind of life, just dealing with that stuff. But I've learned so much about the Medicaid application and how you have to go about getting onto Medicaid and how you have to move funds around and you have to have a 5-year look back. I mean, I've learned so much over the past 5 years that, like, when I'm probably 60, I'm gonna start planning real soon. You know, like really early. You know, because like the government looks at your money 5 years back if you want to go into Medicaid and end up in like a nursing home or assisted living, and then especially after you do the 2 year pay down. So if you can hide your money in trust funds way early in life, they can't touch it. So. You know, it's funny you say that, Jacob, but I know a lot of people, not really in my family, but I know people I've grown up with and people around. There's plenty of people who have kids who their kids who just completely don't care about their parents. At like 8, and their parents should be in like nursing homes and assisted living, and the kids just kind of walk away. I have a friend who was telling me that he had relatives in down south where the kids became the power of attorney and they just wiped out their mother's account and they just left her in the house. So just because you have kids doesn't mean they're actually going to help you. But I guess it depends on the family situation. But that's mind blowing to me. He was telling me that the daughter became the power of attorney and just went into the mother's account and wiped it. Just kind of was using it to go out and party and pay her bills. And so when the mother got like really sick, there was just like $5,000 left. So. And then I've heard stories where, you know, there's like 3 kids or 4 kids in the family, and they let one kid become the executor of the state or the power of attorney, and then that kid would change like the will and all this other stuff. So yeah, I've heard horror stories. I even talked to like, you know, the facility and other people, and they've told me about crazy thing kids has done to their parents that are in those facilities. Not like abuse, but just taking money. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah, yeah, like I said, there's a lot more to my family and parents. I can't really get into it all, but like, you gotta do stuff in writing, and you gotta, see, I could never fathom, like, just taking my parents' money and just run. It's not in my nature, but I do know those horror stories exist, though. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, but my one friend, I guess what it was is the mother had like a couple $100,000 for her retirement plus the house, and I guess the daughters or whatever, they just ran through her money, and then when she started getting a little bit too old and she had to move out, they found out she had like $5,000 left. It was crazy. And then the daughters just left. They never even bother with her, so. Yeah, I mean that's yeah. I think it also comes down to the parents. Like, you have to set everything up in your will and do it correctly. I think a lot of people are just like, oh, I'll make you power of attorney and everything comes to you, but you have to be very careful with power of attorney, because once the power of attorney's there, they can start, dictating where you go and what you do. So if you don't want to end up in, like, a shitty facility and they run with your money, you got to kind of get that stuff situated in a will, But then, like, I've learned a lot of other stuff too. Like, the other problem too is, like, say you have kids but they're married, it's the spouses that can cause issues too. So, like, a lot of people talk about how they would put their house in their kids' name, so this way if they go to they pass away or they go to sell it, it's already in their name. But the problem is if the kids are married and it's the house is in their name but the mother's living there and then they get a divorce, it's an asset of one of the kids, so that spouse can demand money from that house, So you got to be very careful of, like, what you do on stuff a lot. I'm learning so much stuff now, it's crazy. Like from what I understand, the best thing to do is put everything in, like, trusts, Yeah, you gotta do a lot of stuff, And I'm not saying all families and all kids will do this stuff, but still, it's better to be safe than sorry. Yeah, that's the problem. You gotta, basically what it comes down to is money, Money is the root of all evil, so I even heard internet stories where, like, parents thought they were slick where they put their assets in their kids' names, but then those kids would get divorced, and when they went to trial, they found out that all their parents' stuff was actually in the kid's name. But then, if you're going through a divorce and you want to be very careful, you could put the stuff in your parents' name, so then they can't take it. So it's like, it's good and bad in different ways. End of the day, get a will and do what you need to do and go from there. Or if there's a problem, just put me in your will. I'll take it all. No, it's just me. There's no issues with that. My issue is I have very stubborn parents. Very stubborn Italian parents. That's my issue. I tell them to do one thing, they do the opposite. It's like dealing with kids, basically, So that's my issue. It's that generation. It's that generation of boomers / before the boomers. And it's not just me. It's like friends, family, relatives. They all say the same thing. It's that generation. Yeah, very, very, very stubborn, and it's like I don't have kids, but if this is what kids are like, then thank God I didn't have kids. It's very you say do one thing, and like yeah, 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 and they do the complete opposite. And it's not like it's age or mental capacities; it's just being stubborn. I think the common thing of all my cousins, because we're Generation X, is they all say that I will not do to my kids what my parents are doing to me now. You know, that's what they're all saying. They're all like, when it comes time and I cannot function anymore, I will go to a assisted living or to a nursing home. Like, it's like the Generation X accepts our fate. We know where we're headed. But the generations before us just, they can't accept it. It's weird. Like, I end up in a nursing home or assisted living, and that's it. That's my time. I'll meet up with other Generation X. We'll blast some alternative music, and we'll just go out party and screw it. I can imagine our generation when we start ending up in nursing homes and assisted living. I think our generation will have a blast. You know, like I go into the assisted living places now, and you hear like the music they play is kind of like your Frank Sinatra, Engelbert Humperdinck. You get all that oldie music. Like when we're in the nursing homes, you're gonna hear like Nirvana, Metallica, Guns N' Roses. In the TV room they'll be playing like Transformers and stuff. I'll accept my fate. Okay, so side duck was done until I just chipped the piece here. Put him on without hitting it again. Alright, so let's work on this. Let's do the white jacket, which is going to be very dirty. Yeah, my friend got tickets for us already for the Transformers movie. I know they've put it in the movies in the past a couple times, but he really wants to go, so he got us tickets. So we're gonna check that out. Well, I remember seeing Transformers in the movie as a kid, and it was my friend's pizza party. It was his birthday. And I remember we all had pizza, and then we went to the movie theater, and inside the movie theater they had a couple arcade games, so we were all playing arcade games before the movie was going to play. And then I remember when Ironhide died, and I walked out of the movie theater, I was like... The movie was amazing, but I was traumatized to seeing all my favorite Transformers die in the ship. And it was like you really weren't nearly even in that far into the movie yet, and they were killing them off. It was very, very, very traumatizing. So basically, we're gonna go see it again, and I'll probably have some flashbacks, like you said. Yeah, when Ironhide died, just the way Ironhide died in the screen, it was like he just got blasted and the eyes went out, and it was like it really did a number. So, and it was a birthday party too, so. Now, supposedly, they said they're putting something after the end credits. I guess the rumor is it's where it explains of how the Scourge got Prime. I guess that's kind of like supposedly they find out how they got Prime, because in the cartoon they were the ones who had Prime's body or something. I don't remember, but supposedly something that was never shown before is going to be at the end of the credits. I guess they sent Prime's body out into space? I don't know. Something like that. They probably figured let's traumatize this generation some more, you know? Like we got some more stuff we could put in the movie to mess with you guys. I really don't need to see it in the movies, because I kind of watch it like 4 or 5 times a year as it is, maybe more. I always kind of pop it on once in a while. But I guess my friend really wants to go see it, so just to kind of hang out. Alright, so I guess maybe they're gonna add that at the end of the movie, I think. Something. Yeah, they definitely did some crazy stuff to Transformers if you think about it. You know, if you really think about it, they did a lot of stuff that probably wasn't really meant for kids too much. That's probably why our generation is the way it is, because of stuff like Transformers messing with us. Because God forbid they do something like that now, you know. If I ever went to a therapist and they'd be like, "Where do you think your root problems are?" I'd be like, "Transformers. When Ironhide died. I know my problems." Yeah, I remember the resurrection. They brought him back because they realized they were so wrong for trying to kill off all the fan favorites for toys. And they realized they did a lot of damage to their IP. So it was kind of like too late. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, no parent issues, just Transformers. Transformers screwed me up as a kid. When did Transformers come out again? What was it? 80 with the movie? Was it 87? Or earlier? '85? 85, 86, so I was probably like, what, 9 years old? Yeah, it's enough to mess up a generation. And let's face it, it's not like our parents would be like, try to soothe or sit there and rage and send in letters. They were just like, yeah, whatever, suck it up. They're like, we got enough problems as it is. We don't care that your Transformer died. Go cut the lawn. That's pretty much, you know, my answer my parents would have been. They're like, that's nice. Go cut the lawn. You got chores to do. Yeah, yeah, I had a lot of trauma as a kid. Not in the sense of parents, but I saw, like, Transformers. My brother and cousin ruined Santa Claus for me very early, saying he's not real. You know, so I had a lot of stupid crap like that as a kid. That's why Generation X is the way it is. It was so weird too with Transformers, because after the movie, all the cartoons were all the new Transformers, you know. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, I don't know who these guys are. Who are these Transformers, you know? But they did a number on us. All for toys. All because they wanted to sell friggin' toys. Yeah, I think our generation, we had a lot of the older cousins and sisters and brothers who just kind of just wanted to torture everybody. Because what it was is our parents tortured us, so they took it out on the kids. And I'm the youngest in all my cousins' generation, so I got the brunt of it. Yeah, but the thing is our trauma, we learned to live with it, and we just kind of like, yeah, whatever. But the kids these days, it's like they have trauma. It's the end of the world. You got to take a day off of work. You know, like I said, when I was a kid, I was upset about Ironhide, and my parents didn't give two shits. They're like, yeah, whatever. Did you have fun at the birthday party? I'm like, well, Ironhide died. They're like, well, whatever. They didn't give a crap. They were like, just get the hell out of the house. Come back when before the lights come off. That was it. Funny thing is, like, when you tell the young generation, that's how it was. Let's put it to you this way, and I tell this to everybody. So, when I was younger, I used to get my ass beat by my mother when me and my brother were in a room, and my brother would have my head, because he was 3 years older than me, he would have my head against the wall, and I'd be screaming for help. My mother would come in and beat me up because I made more noise than him. She just didn't want to hear the noise, you know? So, it wasn't that I was getting beat up, it was because I was making the most noise. Hey, what's up, Devastator? Yeah, the internet crapped out on me there for a bit. Oh, the good old days. Yeah, I'm telling you, that generation didn't want to hear it. They just didn't care. They just didn't want to hear it. They wanted peace and quiet, and they didn't care. That's just how it was. Yeah, they just offed them. Like, it was like whoever was in the board meeting were like, we need new toys, just kill these guys off so we can put all the new ones in the movie, you know? Yeah. I mean, I was even upset when whatchamacallit, when Megatron turned into that other Galvatron. Even that upset me, because I was like, you know, it's Megatron. But they didn't care. But then again, we didn't have the internet back then, so they thought that they were doing the right thing. Yeah, pretty much, Jacob. That kind of sums it up. There's this one guy on Instagram. He does the boomers, the Generation X, the millennials, the Gen Y, and the Gen Z. And he plays their skits of how they talk to each other. I like how he portrays us, Generation X, and how we don't care about anything, and that how we were so traumatized, we're kind of like the toughest ones. I forget his name. He's funny as hell. I watch his stuff all the time. Yeah, so we're the last generation to know a world without cell phones. We're the last generation to know the world without the internet. We are the generation that grew up with the internet from the start. So we kind of have a taste of everything. Yeah, we're kind of the last generation to have a house phone. Nobody really does that anymore. We're the last generation to know what the Dewey Decimal System is. So I think as millennials came up, they really didn't have... Well, I guess millennials sort of had the libraries, but probably was kind of more on the internet. Probably the last generation to know what script cursive is. Probably too. I don't think But millennials probably know. Yeah, we kind of, yeah, there's a lot of stuff now that's obsolete that we kind of grew up with. So we grew up with, yeah, so I guess you can say we grew up with 8-track tapes, well, record players, 8-track tapes, cassettes, CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, iPods. A lot of that stuff is gone, you know. Rotary phones, let's see what else, payphones, libraries with the Dewey Decimal System where you didn't have a computer to find your book. Let's see what else. Industrial arts, yeah, I remember. Nah, yeah, they don't know what cursive is. I don't even think they teach. Yeah, they don't even teach cursive anymore, right? Like, it's kind of like, I guess, a dying. Yeah, it's just dying. It's kind of funny. I wrote a check for, it was just probably like 4 years ago. I was writing a check to pay a bill, and it kept coming back to me saying, can't read it, can't read it. I had to call up the company and I said, why do you keep sending me my check back? And I said, I've been writing this for years. So the lady got back to me. She said, I think she didn't say it in so many words, but I guess it was a young kid who didn't realize I was writing in script. So that happened to me once. I was like, wow. So I gotta kind of, it's kind of funny, like if I write a check now for anything, I gotta kind of just write it out. It's like you can't even write in script anymore. Damn, we're getting old. Getting old, guys. I still say it now, and I've been telling my friends, I said, all our collectibles are statues. When we hit 70, I think that's going to be the tipping point of where our stuff won't sell ever again. You know? Like, for instance, my parents' generation, like, you know, Buck Rogers and all that type of like movie stuff, it doesn't sell as well as it used to anymore. Only a very niche collectors buy it. So I was watching that one collector's toy channel saying that they buy that stuff now, but it's very hard to move. So our stuff, like when we hit our 70s, I don't think we'll ever really be able to get rid of this stuff ever. Like, we could get rid of it, but it'd be like pennies on the dollar, unless some young generation comes up and like is enamored by like statues and comics and stuff. But so that's why I tell my friends, I'm like, hey, if there's stuff you don't want to take to your grave, you better start purging it soon, because like we're gonna be in our 50s now, And then once we start hitting those 60s, that stuff's not going to probably move like it used to. So, if you got, I always tell them, like, if you got something that's worth a lot of money and you really don't think you're going to want it forever, sell it now. That's how I see it. So, no, Devastator, if we find an island, they'll come and they'll try to tell us how to live on it, you know? Well, now that I was watching a video, I was actually watching a couple, listening to it. They said a lot of the young kids, now that Sony is getting rid of, like, digital discs, like PS1 and PS3... No, PS2 and PS3 are like starting to boom now on the secondary market because everybody's like, well, you know, if you're gonna get, if we don't own the games, we better buy up all the old consoles. So I guess a lot of streamers are moving back to the old games now slowly. So I think the young generation, maybe there's a little faith that they're gonna start healing and start demanding like all the BS to stop happening. Hopefully. Exactly, Raccoon. I even told my cousin, I said, if I kick the bucket, I gotta put my friend in the will, because he'll just toss everything, because he won't know what's what. So, that's the problem with the... Yeah, I stopped that, I think, I'll be 50 next year myself. So I think it was probably around 45 I stopped all, like, no, probably earlier. Probably around 2016. Yeah, maybe like 10 years ago, around 40, 41. I stopped all junk. I figured if I can't really see it on my shelf anymore, I don't want it. So that's why I sold like all my boxes of comics. I got 2 boxes left. I got rid of all the toys and collectibles that were in my closet. I was like, if I can't see it and enjoy it, I don't want it anymore. Because I also know that when it's my time, if it's earlier than like, you know, like in my 50s or 60s, whoever gets this shit won't know what the hell to do with it anyway. See, that's a good thing to do, Raccoon. If you're not using it, and like, even though we're the generation of collectibles and we like to collect, at some point you got to realize that if you can make the money now, it's good. Because who's to say that if you hit 60, 70, you know, this stuff might not be worth a dime, you know? Because look at the comic book market. They're reprinting all the stuff from the 90s again now, and the 2000s in facsimile covers. So they're like, well, the new stuff isn't selling, but the Generation X is still buying, so let's reprint everything, and they'll buy up those comics, you know? So it starts to devalue all that stuff, too. You know, they redid, like, Transformers, the Voltron toys, the Transformers movies coming out, so it's just like, they're just rehashing everything because they got no idea, so... Well, you know what it is you could be in your wheelchair with a Misfit shirt on, but it could be a new one you got at like, you know, on eBay. You don't need the one you had from, like, you know, that could make you some money. Well, I guess if it's art to him, that's fine, but I don't know. It's like I'm just enjoying my stuff now while I can, and I figure I'm gonna keep what I enjoy, and anything that can make me a couple bucks that I don't really need or want, it's out the door. I'm not telling people purge all your shit now and just sit in an empty room, but if you got stuff collecting dust. So I think the young generation now is more or less into Pokemon cards than anything. So you figure once they get older, they're just going to be like, they're just going to want the Pokemon stuff. They're not going to... Well, but there is the X-Men and the Marvel movies, so I don't know. We'll see if we make it that far. I'm still expecting the aliens to come. Well, everything's going to go digital anyway, and they're going to change all the history using AI to change the movies and history and stuff. So by the time we're gone, the young generation is going to have a different whole type of information for history, so it won't matter. You know, they'll probably use AI to change Transformers that they were bad robots from another planet, and you know, and G.I. Joe were not really heroes. You know, they'll change it all on us. All right, so this is like a deep purple. Let's use this one. I think this one would be good. Let's see here. That's a good plan, Raccoon. If it's worth like $400, then screw it. Wow. They already doing it, huh? Well, that's... Well, we're... We're gonna be like the when we're old. We're gonna be like the old wise generation in togas and telling everybody how the world used to be. You know, it's kind of where we're headed. No, I didn't know the stream ended. I got a text on my phone with Xfinity, so I think they've been doing work in the area, so I guess they must have shut the stream off, so I was working, and then I looked up and I saw stream ended, so Terrell said the stream was off for a half hour. I'm over here painting, talking, and I didn't even realize. So I guess I forgot to have the one window up, so it's kind of to my left, so I know if it stops moving that the stream went down. So that was my fault. But even though I couldn't get it back up because the internet went down. So no, it wasn't the aliens this time. Just me not paying attention. Kind of wanted to get a lot done today, so I figured I'd try to get some more of this done before I call it a night. Yeah, I was talking like an idiot and the stream wasn't even on. So I looked up at chat, I'm like, yeah, everyone's quiet tonight. You know, I figured everybody was quiet, and sure enough. What? The porn company is trying to sue your friend? But yeah, it's 2026 these days. God only knows what the hell's going on anymore. Everyone's lost their minds. Yeah, I have Comcast too. They're one of the worst companies ever. Yeah, devastator. um, yeah, I know what Comcast does, and I would love to get rid of Comcast, but sadly, they're the only provider in my area, so there's no competition. See, in New Jersey, like Comcast will get this county, another company would get that county, and another company would get that county. But if Verizon has BIOS throughout all those places, you can switch to BIOS. You know, I forget what they call it, whatever those. But we don't have that infrastructure, so we're pretty much screwed. But yeah, I have to call Comcast every year. I have it on my calendar to make sure they don't up my internet. When I first got this house, I was paying $30 a month for internet. Now I'm paying $95. So since 2012, they just keep raising it like crazy. But also with Comcast, I have my own modem because I don't trust their modems. Plus, they charge you for a modem, and their modems are so old and obsolete. They'll try to tack that onto my bill every few months, and I have to call them up saying, "Hey, I have my own modem. Stop trying to charge me." Really? Sure, it's not a scam. Not like a Comcast scam, but like some kind of scam to get your information. Yeah, see, I wouldn't trust any of that crap. Yeah, there's so many scams going around these days. I wouldn't trust anything. Even if I have to deal with a bank, I call them directly. Even if they call me, even if it's something I'm dealing with a bank, or I will go to the bank itself and talk to somebody. I will not talk to any bank on the phone if I don't have to. Yeah, it's just like back in the day. I don't know. That's weird. That sounds weird. Yeah, that sounds like a scam. It sounds like they're trying to get this dude's information. Wow, really? That's in California too, right? You're in California. They got some weird rules over there too. Yeah, that doesn't sound right at all. That sounds very, very, that's weird. You guys in California have some weird shit going on. Ah, yeah, it sounds like a scam. It sounds like they're just it sounds like it's something set up where they can just target people and hit them for a fast buck. There's a lot of that going around now with like fake fake I've seen it on it's called that site called nextdoor.com, and there's a lot of like, those scammers from like India and stuff. They're sending like fake legal letters now to try to scare you into giving information. That's pretty interesting. Well, they can now spoof cell phone numbers from like legit banks. So I was on the nextdoor.com site, and some lady almost got scammed where they called her and it said like TD Bank on it, on the caller ID. So she called up, she answered the phone, and they were like, "Your account's been hacked, and we need your information." And then somebody told them like, "No, hang up and call the bank direct," and she did, and found out it was a scam. You know. Wow. So did he get a lawyer to kind of fight it, or what? Wow. That's pretty crazy. Oh. So, so, so then they have to. That's weird. So, is there any information if they like gone through and sued people for crazy amounts of money, or there's like no information about that at all? Wow. That's pretty weird. Hmm. I wonder how many of those cases people don't even know they're being sued, you know? There's probably people who never even got the letters or probably threw them away too, to thinking it was just a scam, you know? You know, it's the other thing too is if this becomes well known and widespread, then they're gonna, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely, they probably, yeah, that's kind of, wow. I'm sure they got a lot of people who are just like, I didn't do it. You know? I didn't do it. Now, what if they target the wrong person, though? You know? Like, what if they target somebody that has a lot of money that didn't do it? With, you know... they could get countersued. I would think. I don't know. You can't do anything these days anymore. Yeah, it sounds like a new loophole scam. It sounds like something you got to do, like the blacktop, like playing basketball in school. It's like, yeah, I did it. No, I didn't do it. Or you could say somebody hacked my IP address. You know. I don't know. That's it's pretty interesting. It's always something. You think they would go after? Yeah, I guess it's the embarrassment factor. But you would think that the movie industry would go after everybody first. Yeah, they're probably making a lot of money. They're probably making tons and tons of money on it. That's it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's definitely an embarrassment scam. Wow. I thought the banks were bad with raising prices, but now yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. We got a lot done today. So, I guess next week, probably work on the hair, get the gloves done, start doing touch-ups, get the shoes done, and then we can start working on the base, and then after the base, just dirty it up. At this point, I think all our data's been hacked. I don't think there's, there's even now a lot of talk now that the VPN centers are getting hacked now. So I'm thinking like, no matter what we do, where we go, or whatever we say, we're hacked. Even banks are selling our information, and don't let them fool you. Ah, I don't know. That's a crazy story, Jacob. Gonna have to. Internet's getting worse and worse, I guess. Yeah, I can imagine. That's kind of crazy. Well, hopefully it works out for him. Maybe more people are gonna have to start coming out about it. But all right, well, I am calling it a night. Keep me posted on that, Jacob. Kind of interesting to see what happens. But I am tapped out for the night. But next week we'll kind of finish up, work on the Pokeball glove. It's got the one glove, yeah, not the other glove. And then shoes, and then after that we start building out the base. But all right, have a good one, guys.